Hello. In case this in case this doesn't work with that phone, um I'm just gonna set this on my shoulder and it'll record audio. So yeah, I just wanted to talk immediately about UFC 293. That was the one that just happened, right? I think it was. It was Izzy versus Strickland. Um so yeah, um let's talk about underdogs in UFC. I feel like they always have it wrong. Like, there's no scenario where it should be negative 600 for Challenger. Like, especially when they're ranked number 5 in the world, like Strickland was. Um, because it's two men going into a cage and they're fighting. And in this case, Strickland had amazing defense. I didn't know how good his defense was until this fight. Like, it was otherworldly. Like, he was just seeing everything coming. I didn't see that happening. I didn't think that Izzy's jab wouldn't work. I'm already talking about the fight. I was just saying, basically, I just want to wrap up underdogs. Like, anytime there's some big odds where, they think the underdog is going to get demolished, they're wrong. They're always wrong because they make these insane odds and they get all these people to take their entire paycheck, their entire child's food, and just be like, yeah, I'm going to win money on this. And, yeah, they're always wrong. Like, Holly Holm, Rousey, Nunes, Pena. Trying to think of another big one. Sean O'Malley, Sterling. Sean was a decent underdog. Not a huge one. But yeah, you get my point. I'm just saying the odds makers suck and they're just trying to make money. So the odds almost aren't even worth talking about, but they're a thing, so it's worth talking about. I'll say, okay, so yeah, get into the fight. What did I think was gonna happen? I thought I didn't think Sean was gonna get finished, but I wasn't sure about that. I wasn't all that certain. Sean has an amazing jab, like one of the best jabs in the UFC. Like, he uses it like He-Man uses his sword. He just uses it so well. And yeah, I just thought Izzy would have some trouble with that, and I was right about that. I also thought Sean would use his wrestling. I was wrong about that. And I thought Izzy would eventually land a head kick, and then Sean would kind of go into more of a survival mode. Izzy did not land a head kick. I don't know how. Doesn't even make any sense. Sean was just able to see everything coming. It was really confusing. Like, he was just staring forward the entire time without getting tired. Somehow, watching all these strikes and just blocking them. One of the most shocking fights in UFC history. And so we've covered the first round, basically. Okay, now let's get to 20 seconds before the end of the first round, or 30. Sean lands a straight right, I believe. It wasn't like a very powerful punch. I think it was barely off the shoulder. And Izzy got dropped. Izzy got dropped by Sean Strickland, a guy who's landed over 200 strikes on people and not knocked them out. Like, I think I was a hardcore Izzy fan at one point, but I kind of think he looked like someone that just got off steroid, like the juice. Like, I hate saying that because USADA's supposed to be amazing and whatever. They test Olympians, so they should be able to catch anything that he would be doing. And, it's just not good to throw dirt in someone's face like that. But he just looked awful. He couldn't land anything. Could not land. He couldn't even use his jab. It was insane. Sean was just had his hands up the entire time, or like the Philly show. Like, how was it? I don't even know. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? I'm not a fighter. I'm not gonna imitate his style. I'm gonna get a call by the UFC any day now. But yeah, Sean was just able to see everything. It didn't make any sense. Which was shocking, because in Sean's last fight, he was able to see a lot of the strikes coming, but that was against, like, not someone of Izzy's caliber. And then you go back one fight after that, and Sean fought Nasserini Imavov, and he ate some punches in that. He took it on, like, 4 days' notice. So his conditioning probably wasn't even comparable to what it was against Izzy. So yeah, basically, the fight blew my mind. I think Izzy's done. I hate saying that. Like, I was an Izzy fan, like I just said. At one point, I was a hardcore Izzy fan. I buy his cards. I was talking shit in comment sections, saying that he's already the best middleweight of all time. And I stand by that. You know why? Because it's true. Izzy had, 8 defenses? In the modern era? I don't give a fuck. Anderson wouldn't have had that many defenses. And also, Anderson was on the juice. There was an embedded, from like 10 years ago that someone scoped in on, like, this container of syringes that Anderson had in his house. And it's something that you would only have if you were, like, either diabetic or were using syringes to, give yourself something. Like, what the fuck would Anderson be doing with that other than steroids? And they were in his closet too. Eric Anderson wasn't a diabetic. He wasn't, whatever. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, I'm just saying, Izzy is right now, still, after this loss, the most accomplished middleweight in history, in my opinion. I don't give a fuck. People will say that's wrong. No, I disagree. Yes, so Sean just beat the best middleweight the UFC has ever seen. After getting knocked out by the former champion, then having a close fight with Jared Cannonier, and then fighting one ranked fighter and one unranked fighter. Sean completely outclasses Izzy. Like, who saw this coming? All I thought was going to happen was I didn't think Sean was going to get knocked out. I thought he was going to be able to go the distance, and land some good jabs, block head kicks, possibly eat 1 or 2. I thought he would do well, but he did. He couldn't have done better. Like, he literally only lost 1 round, and the round that he lost was fairly close still. Izzy did pretty well in the second round, but Sean wasn't wobbled one time the entire fight. Like, and Izzy missed over 100 strikes. It's just insane. I'm trying to think what I could talk about next. I'm probably about done. What do I think is going to happen next? I kind of want Paulo Costa to win. Just because I like Paulo Costa, because he's hilarious. I really hope that he wins against Chimaev, and then we get Costa, Sean. I think that would be a good fight. However, Dricus du Plessis is right there, so if he's not injured, then he deserves the next shot. But in my perfect world, Sean versus Costa is the next fight. And how long do we think Sean's going to keep the belt? Honestly. I think it might be a while. I would not be surprised if Sean gets 2 or 3 defenses and then retires. I don't see why he wouldn't do that. He trained. The trouble is that he trained with. Chris Curtis, who I think is a middleweight, and he trained with Vittori. So, and he trained with Alex Pereira. So those are like 3 people that are friends of his that he would have to wind up fighting eventually, if he remained champion. And I don't know if he would want to fight them. So the UFC might make that kind of weird for him if he's the champion. But yeah, if Dreykus isn't injured, then Dreykus versus Sean should definitely happen. He deserves it. But in my ideal world, it would be Sean versus Costa. That press conference would be hilarious. And also, Hamza versus Sean press conference would be hilarious. Like, don't get me wrong, they're both entertaining fighters. How long have I talked? 11 minutes. What else can I talk about? I've already talked about what I think Sean is going to do next. Yeah, Sean was in disbelief himself, which isn't something you see. He looked at the belt and he's like, "What is that? What is that?" Laura Sanko was just wet as fuck. You know what I'm saying? She wanted a piece of that white trash pie. And I don't blame her. You know what I feel like doing right now? I feel like watching American History X. Cause so that I can get like a glimpse of what Sean was like. I think I might have to do that. I don't know what else I can talk about. I think I'm going to start doing this more. Because I talk about MMA all the time with my brother and one friend. We have a group chat. And there's another guy in the group chat, but he kind of doesn't ever say anything. You know, he's too busy with work to watch any of the events. So he's very much a casual. Like, as much as a casual you can be. Well, he's not like one of those people that only watches Connor cards. But he's close. He hasn't watched a UFC card in a while. Definitely doesn't know who Sean Strickland is. And Sean Strickland just beat Israel Adesanya dominantly. And I think, get this, I think it should have been stopped in the first round. I'm sorry. Like, you don't want to see early stoppages, but you also don't want to see late stoppages. It almost would have been better. It almost would have been better if that fight was stopped in the first. Because then Izzy wouldn't have gone like 20 for 150 or so. Like, he missed over 100 strikes by the time the 5th round came around, I believe. So it almost would have been better if it was a first round TKO than 5 rounds of Sean dominating besides 1 round. Which is crazy to think, because like, I never would have thought that Izzy would look that bad. And the reason he didn't look good, the reason that he looked bad, was just because Sean saw everything coming. He wasn't able to land. He wasn't able to land virtually anything significant. He landed like probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 jabs, and I think probably 2 right hands, and I think Sean had to block full force like 2 or 3 kicks, and then there's body shots and leg kicks, obviously. But yeah, Izzy's approach just wasn't, I don't know, it's hard to determine, like, was Izzy's approach not good, or was Sean just that good at seeing the strikes come? It's really hard to to determine. And what do you do with Izzy now? Like, what the fuck? Do you just have Izzy go fight some number 5 guy? Or number 10 guy? I don't even know. Like, that's a weird thought. To have him not... The fact that it was so dominant that he might not get an immediate rematch. I mean, I don't think he will. But that's insane to think. If I was Izzy, I think I might retire. He's kind of like the Stipe of heavyweight. Like, he has all of the records. He's the best statistically. Most defenses. Insane accomplishment in the division. But we're unsure if both of them can continue winning dominantly. So, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not saying Stipe should retire, but that's like a close comparison. I think Stipe is going to beat John Jones, but yeah, I don't think Izzy's going to win a lot more fights. Unless if it's someone bad. And that's the thing. Like, can you give Izzy a fight with someone who's... Can you give Izzy a fight against someone who's not very good? Like, how do you do that? You can't give him anyone but, like, a Whitaker or a Cannonier, or not Cannonier. There's really just Whitaker. Whitaker's the only fight right now. They both just lost. They've got 2 fights. Why not do a trilogy? UFC loves trilogies. I think that's what they're going to do. And my prediction for that is Whitaker beats Izzy, I think, in the trilogy. Because Whitaker exposed a lot in their second fight, in my opinion. He used the jab expertly. He won 2 rounds, at least. Not at least. Just, he won 2 rounds. He didn't win 3. He won at least 1 round. There we go. Yeah, he used the jab very well against Izzy. He was able to use his wrestling pretty well. And I think Whitaker can bounce back from Duplessis. I don't think Whitaker's ever going to become champion. I think guys like Strickland and Duplessis and probably Costa too. I think Costa is he still pretty good? Like, I think he can still win fights dominantly. I don't think he's done. But maybe I'm wrong. Alright, what am I talking about? I'm talking about who we think is going to be the next champion. My Xbox is about to turn itself off. I don't want that to happen because I need to watch American History X. Yeah, so, yeah, in closing, I don't think Izzy is going to win any fights against someone unless if they are not very good. That's just my thoughts. Because middleweight is too good right now. Izzy versus Whitaker. I think that's what the UFC is going to do. I think they're going to come back to New Zealand for that. And I bet that's going to be like... I don't know. Does that headline? With Izzy not being a champion, is that a headlining event? It is, right? Because Whitaker headlined fight nights. So, I don't know. Yeah, I think Sean is going to be champion for at least a year. I think he's going to get in 2 or 3 defenses. Rematch Jared Cannonier at some point, for sure. Rematch... I kind of hope that Piera stays at 205. I don't see Piera having much success at 185 anymore. in my opinion. I think he's 35. Um, that weight cut is just brutal. I mean, the last time he made weight, I think he had like an hour to spare or less. And then he got knocked out brutally from one punch. So, I don't know. I don't think he has much of a chin at 185 compared to 205. He had a much better chin at 205. I still don't think he did very well against Blachowicz, but that's a whole other topic. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this more because I can sit here and ramble about MMA for a while. And all I've talked about is the 185 division. How long have I talked? 20 minutes. Okay, that's perfect. In closing, I don't think Izzy is going to win much more, sadly, unless if it's against a bad opponent. And I think Sean is going to be champion for a while. He's going to rematch Cannonier. Rematch that other guy. What other guy? Well, he's going to rematch Izzy at some point. Well, actually, no. I don't know. Like I said, okay, I'm literally just going in a cycle now. Yeah, insane card. Could not have been more shocking. Thank you for your time. I'm not going to edit this, so, you're welcome for the 20-minute ramble if you watched it. Thank you. I am ending the video now. So I just want to thank you. Thank you for watching Slychiefy.